I want you to stop what you're doing right now because what I'm about to share completely changed the way I think about morning fatigue. And if you're over 50, this could be the most important minutes of your day. Two women, same age, same neighborhood, same morning routine, coffee, news, a quiet moment before the day starts. One of them wakes up feeling like she's been hit by a truck. Heavy eyelids, joints that don't want to move, a fog in her brain that doesn't lift until noon, sometimes later. The other one? She's alert by 7, clear-headed, energy that carries her through the afternoon. What is the difference between these two women? It isn't youth, it isn't luck, and it is absolutely not genetics. I want to kill that excuse right now. My name is Sarah, and I am an endocrinologist. I have spent my career watching patients come into my office exhausted, frustrated, convinced that this is just how aging feels. Doctor, I sleep 8 hours and wake up more tired than when I went to bed. Doctor, I cannot lose weight no matter what I try. Doctor, my memory feels like it's slipping. And almost every single time, when we dig deeper, we find the same invisible culprit hiding in plain sight. What I'm going to tell you today is something most people are never told, not by their general practitioners, not by the wellness influencers on social media, and certainly not by the coffee brands they're drinking every morning. Stay with me, because the solution is sitting in your kitchen right now, but there is a piece of information you need first, or none of it will make sense. Here is what is actually happening. Your thyroid, a small butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your throat, is the master regulator of your metabolism. Every single cell in your body has receptors for thyroid hormone. Every one. When it works correctly, you burn energy efficiently, your brain fires quickly, your muscles recover, your weight stays stable, your mood stays level. When it slows down, everything slows down with it. We call this hypothyroidism, and it is one of the most underdiagnosed conditions I see in adults over 50, particularly in women. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Studies estimate that subclinical hypothyroidism, meaning your thyroid is already underperforming but not enough for a basic blood test to flag as an emergency, affects somewhere between 8 and 17% of older women. Many of them are sitting in front of me right now, watching this video, thinking their exhaustion is just part of getting older. It is not. It is a signal. Your body is trying to tell you something. And here's what makes this worse. Most people unknowingly make it harder for their thyroid every single morning. How? Through one of the most beloved rituals on the planet, coffee. But not coffee itself. It's what you put in your coffee, and more importantly, what you're missing from your coffee that determines whether that first cup fuels your metabolism or quietly suppresses it. If you find this helpful and you're watching right now, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I am here every week breaking down real endocrinology in plain English, without the jargon, without the fear, just the truth. And leave me a comment below. Tell me how old you are and where you're watching from. I am always moved by who this content reaches. Now, before I tell you exactly what to add to your coffee, I need you to understand why your morning fatigue might be more than just poor sleep, because this changes everything. Your adrenal glands, the small triangular organs that sit on top of your kidneys, are supposed to release cortisol in the morning. Cortisol is your natural wake-up signal. It peaks around 30 minutes after you open your eyes in a healthy system, giving you energy, mental sharpness, and the drive to move. But in people with sluggish thyroid function or people who have spent years under chronic stress, this morning peak gets disrupted. The morning peak is flat. The afternoon crashes are sharp. You feel wired at 10 at night and dead at 8 in the morning, completely backwards. Does that sound familiar? Now, here is where it gets really interesting, and I want you to stay focused because what comes next is the kind of information that people pay hundreds of dollars in medical consultations to receive. There is an entire category of evidence-backed, accessible, natural compounds that have been shown in research, real peer-reviewed research, to support thyroid function, stabilize morning cortisol, reduce inflammatory load on the endocrine system, and genuinely shift how you feel within 20 to 30 days of consistent use. Several of them dissolve perfectly into a cup of coffee. Some of them you already own. But before I get to the specific protocol, and I am going to give it to you in precise detail, I need to address something that I see holding people back every single day in my practice. People think they can manage symptoms alone without ever understanding what's driving them. They try more sleep, less coffee, more coffee, supplements that promise miracles, elimination diets, and they get partial results at best because they're treating symptoms without ever addressing the root. If your thyroid is underperforming, no amount of willpower fixes that. What you need is a targeted approach, and for some of you, a conversation with a physician who will actually listen. Now, I know that for many of you watching, especially those dealing with stubborn weight, low energy that never fully recovers, a metabolism that feels broken, and sleep that leaves you unrested, there's a natural, structured method that addresses these exact patterns at a hormonal level. I'm going to leave the first link in the description below. It's not a magic pill. It's a researched method for people who are serious about resetting their metabolism, improving their energy, and sleeping deeply again. Go check it out after this video. Back to your coffee. Here is the protocol. These are not random wellness trends. Each one of these has documented research behind it. First, Ceylon cinnamon. Not regular cassia cinnamon, Ceylon. Half a teaspoon in your morning coffee. Cinnamon contains compounds called cinnamaldehydes and proanthocyanidins that have been shown in multiple studies to improve insulin sensitivity. Why does this matter for fatigue? Because insulin resistance and thyroid dysfunction often exist together. When your cells stop responding efficiently to insulin, glucose doesn't enter the cells properly, and you feel exhausted even with adequate blood sugar. Ceylon cinnamon helps bridge that gap. It also has a naturally sweet flavor that reduces the urge to add sugar, which is its own gift to your metabolism. Second, ashwagandha. A quarter teaspoon of ashwagandha root powder in your coffee. This is where the evidence becomes genuinely exciting. Several randomized clinical trials, the gold standard of research, have found that ashwagandha supplementation was associated with measurable reductions in serum cortisol and improvements in perceived energy and stress tolerance. One widely cited study found participants reported significantly less fatigue and better cognitive function after consistent use. Importantly, there is also research suggesting ashwagandha may support thyroid hormone levels in patients with subclinical hypothyroidism, though I always encourage anyone on thyroid medication to discuss this with their physician before adding any supplement. Third, ground ginger. A small pinch, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Ginger has well-documented anti-inflammatory properties linked to its active compounds, including gingerols and shogols. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a significant but often ignored driver of fatigue in adults over 50. When the body is in a constant state of quiet inflammation, it diverts enormous energy towards immune function, energy that should be going to your brain, your muscles, your organs. Ginger helps calm that system. It also supports circulation and digestion, which are both commonly sluggish in people with thyroid dysfunction. Fourth, a small dose of iodine.
And here I want to be careful because too much iodine can actually harm thyroid function. This is not about megadosing. This is about not being deficient. Many adults, particularly those who have reduced their sodium intake, reduced seafood consumption, or shifted to non-iodized salt, are mildly iodine insufficient without knowing it. One simple and gentle option, a very small amount of seaweed flakes or kelp granules added to your morning routine, not daily necessarily, but a few times per week. Iodine is one of the essential raw materials your thyroid needs to produce hormones. Without it, even a perfectly healthy thyroid cannot do its job. Fifth, and this one surprises people every time I mention it, L-theanine. This amino acid is found naturally in green tea and is available as a supplement. When combined with caffeine, L-theanine produces what researchers describe as calm alertness. The anxiety, the jitteriness, the mid-morning crash that many people experience from coffee alone, L-theanine smooths all of that out. It works by modulating neurotransmitter activity in a way that supports focus without increasing cortisol. This is important. If you are already dealing with HPA axis dysregulation, the system that governs cortisol, drinking plain coffee can actually worsen the problem. L-theanine effectively makes caffeine friendlier to your hormonal system. Now, and this is where I want you to pay close attention. Here's a mistake I see constantly. People try one of these things once or twice, notice no miracle, and stop. That is not how biology works. Your endocrine system is not a light switch. It is a thermostat. Changes happen in layers over days and weeks of consistent input. If you start this protocol and expect to feel transformed in 24 hours, you will be disappointed. If you stay consistent for 3 to 4 weeks, most of my patients report a noticeable and measurable difference in how they wake up, how they sustain energy through the afternoon, and how clearly they think. And I want to be direct with you about something else. This protocol supports your body. It does not replace medical care. If you are experiencing profound fatigue, unexpected weight gain, hair loss, cold intolerance, brain fog that is affecting your daily function, please go see a physician. Ask specifically for a full thyroid panel, not just TSH. Ask for free T3, free T4, and thyroid antibodies. Many people walk around for years with results that fall within the normal range, but are optimal for nobody. And a physician trained in endocrinology will read those numbers very differently than a general screening. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it right now. This is exactly the kind of content I'm dedicated to sharing with you every single week. Real endocrinology, real tools. No fear, no hype. And if you are someone who has been struggling with all of this, the weight that won't move, the energy that never fully comes back, the sleep that doesn't restore, I want to point you to something specific. In the first link in my description, you'll find a structured natural method designed for exactly this hormonal pattern. It is not a quick fix, it is a reset. And the people who commit to it consistently are the ones who stop waking up feeling defeated. Let me leave you with this. The 2 women I described at the beginning of this video, they are not fictional. I have seen this exact contrast hundreds of times in my career. The difference between them was not age, not fate, not how hard they were willing to work. The difference was information. One of them had learned from someone somewhere that her morning fatigue was a message from her endocrine system, not a sentence, and she acted on it. To summarize everything I just gave you, add Ceylon cinnamon for insulin sensitivity and metabolic support. Add ashwagandha for cortisol regulation and thyroid support, with physician guidance if you're on medication. Add ginger to quiet inflammation and improve circulation. Make sure you're not iodine deficient, gently, not aggressively. And add L-theanine to make your daily coffee work with your hormones instead of against them. Your thyroid is not your enemy. Your adrenal glands are not broken. Your body is trying to adapt with tools that were never designed for the demands of modern life. Give it the right inputs consistently, and it will respond. You have more control here than you think. That is the part they never tell you, and now you know. Hit like if this opened your eyes to something. Subscribe so you never miss what comes next. I'll see you in the next one.